Worry not for that which you cannot change. A profound statement to make, but there is great truth in it. Worry is a natural part of being a human. We worry about everything. Our kids, our well-being, the world, the economy, that noise that happens in the middle of the night that we just can't quite pinpoint exactly what it is. We're worriers. We're anxiety-driven even. When your stomach clenches and tightens like a vice grip and then twists and twists until you sincerely hope it stops. When all of a sudden your heart stops, your stomach drops, and the entire world focuses in on that one thing that seems so big and so impossible. That one thing that just can't happen. But does worry really do anything? Do these moments make us pause and stop? Or do they bring us into a world of chaos that we are trying to claw our way out of? Worry can call us to action. It can call us to do something, to finish that assignment that's due in 3 hours and you're absolutely sure you're going to fail. It can call us to make a savings account in case we crash our car into a guardrail because the rain decided to be mean on a road trip. It can call us to lock the doors and the windows at night in order to keep the bad guys away. But does the worry itself really change anything? Or is it our response to worry? Does the worry that we battle with about the paper that's due really change the grade that we're going to get on it? Does the worry over the savings account in the car that we might or might not crash do any good if it sits there and is never used? Does worrying over whether the doors and the windows are locked matter if the door is kicked in and the glass broken? The simple answer is that no, it doesn't. Worry itself doesn't change anything. Yet no offense to Jesus or Luke, but telling me not to worry is not going to make me stop worrying. It's part of human nature. Thus, there is the added, worry not for that which you cannot change. The things that we cannot change are quite numerous in our lives. We cannot change the decisions and actions of other people. We cannot change the grade that we're going to get. We can't change the accident that nature inexplicably causes. The only thing that we can change is where we put our trust. Are we putting our trust in things that are unworthy? In the stores of food that we have? The savings account that is never used? In the hope and understanding of a professor? Or in the wind as it changes direction at the last moment? This text is talking about the worries that we have no control over. And its answer to those worries is quite thoughtful. Luke states previously that, and once again in the sermon of Jesus to the disciples, that we are valued more than the birds and the grass. We are worth more to God. The worry in this text is centered on the necessity of food and clothing, on having enough for each of us to survive. This is not something that we in this congregation often worry about in our personal lives. The disciples that Jesus is speaking to are part of an inside crowd. They have supporters who help fund their journeys and their ministries. They are part of a known group that is taken in and fed wherever they go. Yet these disciples do have cause for worries. They left their homes, they left their families, they left their lives behind to follow Jesus, and they no longer have a backup plan. They have no savings accounts, they have no parents that are a cell phone call away, and they have no homes with doors and locks. And the funny thing about this text is, it isn't telling them to go get that. This text is telling them that it will be provided for them. We know this in part of the previous passage, the part that we didn't read, where Jesus tells a parable to a great crowd about a rich man whose fields grew too much and he had a great excess of what he didn't really need. The rich man had been blessed with abundance. The man then decided in all of his great fortune that he would tear down his old barns that were too small to store all the food he'd grown, and he would build new ones so that he could store all the food for himself. For himself. Now that doesn't seem very Christian. But the rich man was happy with his decision. He was satisfied with what he had chosen to do. God, on the other hand, was not so pleased. "You fool!" God said. Fool? We as humans, are we not of more value than the birds and the grass? Should the rich man have used the excess to feed the ravens and to fertilize his land for the next year's harvest? Should he have shared it with his neighbors and with those who did not have enough? We are a congregation that has been blessed with abundance. Quite like the rich man in the parable, we make our budget every year. We have new people joining the congregation. We have people being born and young couples getting married. We are a congregation that has far more than enough. So why are we worrying? And more importantly, what are we going to do about it? 4 years ago, we joined together with several other churches and worked hard to build homes with the help of Thrivent Financial for Habitat for Humanity. We have done this for 4 years straight now, in financial help and in the actual building of the homes. We participated in 4 houses being built, and this year we are the only ones building a home for Habitat. Without the gifts of this congregation and the support, there wouldn't be a Habitat house this year. What a gift! And we've now added a second ministry, Family Promise. We're letting families in a transitional period in their lives sleep in our church, share our meals with us, become part of this congregation in the usage of these facilities. These families that are coming to stay here, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, sisters and brothers, aunts and uncles, grandparents even, they don't have enough. They don't have the necessities. They don't have shelter, they don't have food, and they don't have proper clothing. But we have abundance. We can change their worry of these mundane things, and we can provide for them the necessities to live. These families worry about where they're going to sleep, and we can provide for them a safe place to slumber. And yet here we are, worrying about the safety of our possessions and the items in this building. Worry not for that which you cannot change.